Authentication. In this video, we'll be showing how to create a directory source. We'll be discussing the downloads section where we have our various agents to download. We will be discussing our logon agent, our remote agent, as well as our Wi-Fi agent. Then in the authentication rules section, we'll be discussing our mobile portal as well as our Google Authentication portal. Welcome to NetSpective. Under the Authentication tab, if I click on Directory Sources, this is where we can create various directory sources within NetSpective, and we can tie those to Active Directory, eDirectory, Open Directory, or even Google Directory. Once we put in our pertaining information, we can then bring in groups of users into the Groups section or Security Manager section. If I click on Downloads, we come to a section where we can download the various agents that we provide with NetSpective. Some of these include our logon agents. We have one for Windows, Mac OS, as well as Terminal Server Agent. These logon agents are more of a domain-based technology. They simply live on the domain controller, and they're only going to execute through a group policy object or network logon script. They don't have to install on every workstation. We can run these in a few ways, including a persistent mode, where they stay up and running, sending that information to NetSpective periodically. This is handy for notebooks which are on the Wi-Fi, and their IP address might be changing over time. We can also put them in a silent mode where they stay invisible to the end user and cannot be turned off by the user. Further down we have our remote agents. As you can see, we have one for Windows and one for Mac. These remote agents were initially designed for notebooks which were going home with users. They can both filter as well as send reporting information back to NetSpective for these off-network users. However, we have redesigned these remote agents with SSL decryption in mind. These remote agents will still work the way they used to, filtering users off network, but they also go a step further. They will install your certificate onto the end workstation's web browsers so that you don't need to distribute them through some other means like Active Directory. They will perform all SSL inspection on the local workstation as opposed to on the hardware sitting in your network. This has an added security benefit where no traffic is leaving the workstation unencrypted, where anybody can perform some sort of attack on that traffic. Finally, in the remote agent SSL inspection section, we can actually gain visibility into the applications that are running on the end workstation and disable encryption for those particular applications. Some applications refuse to be decrypted, so it is handy to add those here, such as your Google Drive. And then finally, we have our Wi-Fi agent. This agent can be configured on a server in your network where it will send log files from your Radius server, providing NetSpective with the username and MAC address, and then sending log files from your DHCP server, which will notify the NetSpective of the IP address and MAC address. This agent pulls those logs together, throws away all the information you don't need, and injects directly into NetSpective the IP address and username of all the users that are authenticating on your access control server. This particular agent negates the need of a portal system. It is perfect for networks where you'll be moving from one building to the next and constantly getting a different IP address. Authentication with NetSpective is then seamless and completely transparent. You walk into one building, as soon as you authenticate to the Wi-Fi, you have authenticated to NetSpective and you get your own custom policy. Coming to authentication rules, this is where we can set up the various captive portal systems within NetSpective. As you can see, this is broken into two sections. We have the authentication ranges that you configure with an IP address range, and then you select a rule to associate it with. When we come up here to configure a rule, this window will drop down. We can simply select the name to identify the rule, and then select the mode that we want to put this portal into. The standard portal was designed for general desktops. The mobile portal, however, was designed with HTML5 to be browser and operating system independent. This is good for pretty much any type of device: iPhones, iPads, Android phones, tablets, as well as Chromebooks. We then select the authentication method. We can then authenticate with LDAP, asking that user for a username and password directly from your LDAP server. We have a transparent method of Windows NTLM, where we can bridge the NetSpective to the domain, pull that information in automatically. Users won't even see a portal page, they'll just be allowed through, providing those credentials are cached within the browser. And then finally, we have our Google Authentication, where we can pull authentication information directly from Google, allowing you to have single sign-on with devices such as Chromebooks. We can choose how long we want this user to be logged in for, whether we want a login timer of X number of minutes, or if we want to choose inactivity and have this expire after they've been away from their device for a period of time. Thank you for watching. Please visit us at getnetspective.com for more information.